Mmm, my jam tastes extra crispy today.
Oh, I'm Sister Babeushka.
Nighttime. Daytime. Nighttime. Daytime. And I'm Sister Lascalot.
And this is utter nonsense.
This is the show where we pour a cup of tea.
And utter whatever nonsense just pops into our heads.
This is basically a very laid back chat between good friends.
And Sister Joan.
Sister Joan, Joan, calling Sister Joan. She has her own theme tune now.
And a new episode is uploaded once a month at the start of the month, every month. So do subscribe to make sure you're kept up to date on all the episodes that come out.
The show that's always serving utter nonsense. Well, we decided there was not enough nonsense in our lives, so we are going to return to one of our favourite subreddits, which is AreTheStraightsOK?
Bold of you to claim this was one of our favourite subreddits considering how it went last time. Just saying.
Heteronormative culture can be kind of awkward. And that's not to say all of it is, but gives me secondhand shame is what it does.
Speechless.
We should have a look and find out.
Shall we dive right in then?
Yes.
Yes. I'm gonna do my reading voice, okay? Get your ASMR vibes on, people. Starting off strong with a very beautiful poem. Is the 57 part of the poem, or is that not part of the poem, actually? I'm going to include it, because it seems like it's the first line. 57. Never met a woman who couldn't cry. Never met a woman who wouldn't lie. To take what's yours whenever they can, and say that it's your fault, 'cause you're a man. And somebody has obviously commented underneath saying, beautiful.
Beautiful.
And this got 13 votes up, by the way.
Mate, I'm really sorry that you've had a bad experience. It happens sometimes. Love can be beautiful, love can hurt, but this screams a little bit of misogyny.
So stupid and so misogynistic. What the fuck?
Do you think 57 is the number of times this scenario's happened in this person's life?
Oh my god, they're only like 19. They're like, I've had 57 women and they all lie to me and they all cry.
Does give me incel vibes. Incels are people who claim that they are involuntary celibate, for anyone who doesn't know. And it's essentially men who blame women for not sleeping with them, despite the fact nobody is obligated to sleep with anyone. If they actually just went and talked to real people and were just open, genuine people themselves, they probably wouldn't have any problems.
That's not true, Alaska. You've just read it in this beautiful poem. The women are lying, they're crying, they're taking his things.
Like, I'm sure that can happen, but that can happen the other way around too. Bless. I'm sorry if someone's had this experience, but that's the weirdest love poem I've ever read.
Also just a very shit poem. It's not very interesting to read.
And someone thought it was beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mwah, 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 mwah.
Also beautiful because it's a picture of a wedding scene. This particular wedding just happens to be Fiona at her wedding day with Lord Farquhar. And Shrek interrupts. It says, Shrek is proof that women would rather date an ugly ogre instead of a short dude. Who said those things are mutually exclusive?
You can be ugly and short. Surprise! I think it's funny because I actually do have a friend who is very much would rather date toxic men than deal with short men. So I've actually seen this play out in real life.
Different people have different things that they like. So yeah, you might have some people who don't want to date a short person, but you might have some people that don't want to date the ogre, you know?
People come in a variety of forms, you know, whether that's height, shape, weight, gender. You know, there's a whole bunch of variety to life, and there'll be different things that different people like.
I will say, I personally think whoever created this meme is focusing on the wrong things. It's not about the short dude versus the ugly dude. It's about the toxic guy versus the person who would treat her right. And that doesn't matter what package that comes in. At the end of the day, as long as you're a decent human and you are going to be a good partner to someone, you will find someone who wants that.
It's almost as if the person missed quite a lot of the premise of Shrek and how it ends, because that's kind of the whole lesson that Fiona goes through.
How awkward would it be if you interrupted a wedding, but the other person's like, no?
Oh, that would be awkward. Like, what is the etiquette for that, actually? Just because we're talking about weddings, right? You interrupt a wedding, you say, no, you should marry me. They say no. Do you then, like, go out? Or do you know just, like, quietly sit at the back pew and just wait? Because obviously you don't want to make a scene and, like, slowly walk out and everyone watch you. But at the same point, it's a bit awkward to stay there.
Well, you already made a scene. You may as well walk out now. Oh, I'm just going to stay, watch the rest of the wedding. I'm going to go sit at the dinner and eat the food. I'll do a bit of dancing that night. I'll stay for the whole thing.
Well, I mean, a free buffet is a free buffet. You're not going to turn it down.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing that ever happens in real life, like interrupting weddings and saying, no, you can't marry them.
I mean, I feel now that when I do get married, I'm going to have to designate somebody to shout out just for a laugh.
You would hope you would say it before the wedding day, though, right?
You know, some people like to work to a deadline and they like the pressure of a deadline. So I suppose if you've got a deadline of, right, I'm getting married on this date. If you don't tell me by then, I'll be married. So it's too late, you know, and then they leave it last minute, much like some people leave their dissertations. Staying on brand with the wedding theme.
I don't know why we're on a wedding theme, but here we are.
Interesting that we've both chosen to wear some form of white on our face today.
As is traditional for weddings.
We have a lovely 4-panel comic with a little man looking at a Venus flytrap in the first one, saying, why would a fly land on something like this? The next panel is him looking at a rat trap going, that should be ashamed for falling in this trap. We then move on to the third panel with a bear trap on the ground, and him going down going, bears, this is ridiculous. And then our fourth one, if you haven't already guessed it from our previous comments leading up to this meme, the man is happily getting married.
I feel there's a theme here about men not viewing marriage as something enjoyable, worth doing. Like they feel like it's a trick, which is interesting because statistics have shown that men's life expectancy actually increases when they get married, but a woman's life expectancy decreases.
I posit my theory that that's because the man now has somebody to tell him not to do the stupid things that he would naturally do. Meanwhile, the woman has to put up with the man and all the stress that telling him not to do something stupid causes.
Basically, yes. Essentially, the researcher said it was because women will put other people's needs ahead of their own, but because she's looking after everyone else first and her needs last, her life expectancy actually decreases. So, ladies, it seems like the trap is the one that you're falling into.
Look at that. The Uno reverse card has been played.
I feel ultimately it's a commentary on heteronormative culture. And as part of that, there are expectations, and people do things because it's expected of them, not necessarily because they want to, because it's the right thing for them to do. I also have to ask, if you think it's a trap and it's not that sacred, why would you withhold it?
That is interesting that there's such a cognitive dissonance between viewing it as a trap, but also seeing it as this precious fucking thing that nobody else can have.
Really, people just should do what feels right for them and not feel pressured either way. Right, I feel we've probably had quite enough of the wedding themes. Let's move on to something a bit different. I really enjoy this one. It's a picture of a corn dog, which I don't think is a thing we really have in this country. But the bit I particularly like is the text above it, which says, life is like a corn dog. We're getting deep and meaningful here. It's like Shrek with his layers. Bitches only want your wiener if you got bread.
Where to start? I mean, maybe the misogyny with calling women bitches, but
They started on a high, right?
I mean, they should have just stopped at life is like a corn dog, because I could have went with that. And then obviously the fun implication that they only want you for your money. And it's like, there's more to a relationship than that.
Honestly, the thing that I feel is most awkward about this is the size of the corn dog in the picture. Very in your face.
I mean, that's where you want a corn dog to be, in your face. You don't want it going anywhere else, Alaska.
Again, this feels like a very outdated sexist trope. Yeah, sure, there will be people for whom money is an important consideration. If you're forming a partnership for the long term, you probably do want to consider the future and your lifestyle and make sure that you're both on the same page.
And I think it's more outdated now more so than ever because, funnily enough, we let women have their own bank accounts and have jobs and earn their own money. So they don't need to always consider your financial position as the make or break of a relationship. Shock horror. Equality benefits everyone.
In reality, people bring different things to a relationship, and money is only one of those things. And so as long as there is an equal effort overall from both sides, that's probably what really matters. It's not just about the money, bitches.
If you're going to refer to your partner as a bitch all the time, you're clearly off to a great start in forming a long-lasting relationship, aren't you? All about the money, money, money. Here we have what was once called a tweet from a website that used to exist called Twitter, back before the Muskie man decided to destroy it.
Have you seen these limiting how many tweets you can look at per day?
600 odd if you're unverified, right?
Even if you pay for it, there's a limit. You pay for it, and once you've looked at the number of tweets, the maximum number, you're just cut off for the day.
So yes, back when we used to have what was called Twitter, a man decided to tweet this. The audacity! Shaking hands with a woman is like shaking hands with a child. It seems artificial and vaguely patronizing. The handshake was designed as a greeting between men to show that your sword hand was empty. This also got 354 retweets and 1,810 likes.
This is another example of heteronormative culture being super awkward. If this is how people feel, is that why there are so many men that give really weird, limp little handshakes? For some reason, I associate it with used car salesmen. Like you go to shake their hand and like a firm, solid handshake, and you just get this little limp thing, and they'd like pull their hand away. It's just weird.
Funnily enough, I have had it, and it is generally when they notice the nail polish and they get a little bit weird about that. So it's also a good indicator for certain types of people.
Like they're saying that they're having problems shaking the woman's hand, but I can tell you now, she's not enjoying shaking your hand either. It's so icky. Please just mutually respect each other and shake hands properly. A nice firm handshake, or just don't.
Just do a hand up. You don't even have to shake the hand if you don't want to now.
I don't think it really matters why the handshake started. That's not what it means today, and you know it. Stop being weird.
It kind of makes me wonder, like, is this person that's a person that is sexually attracted to women? Because if they're also comparing women to children, that makes like a little flag in my head go off. And I'm like,
The same flag go off, yes.
Oh, good, okay. Yeah. I mean, just look at that face. Also, shame on the people that retweeted and liked this. This is not something you want to encourage.
Like, just, if you're both adults, meet each other as equals. And if the other person's not an adult, maybe just don't touch them. Our next one, I think, is probably also a tweet. This one says, my grandfather told me that when my grandma gets mad at him, he tightens the pickle jar lid, so she'll have to talk to him. I want that. Do you want that, Babeushka?
I like trolling, but that seems a bit weird.
Obviously, this is referencing the trope of women can't open their own jars. It's just kind of rubbish. There's plenty of methods, and it doesn't necessarily have to require a man. But I do kind of admire the genius. It's one way to get people talking again after an argument. And really, communication is key.
It's an amusing way to get around. But yeah, I mean, in our household, there are times where I can easily open the jar. There are other times where my partner can easily open the jar. Sometimes neither of us can open the jar, and we've actually had to resort to getting very odd methods of opening jars. So it shows that multiple genders can open jars at times, people.
How are you opening your jars?
One time we decided to just stab through the lid with a really sharp knife.
Oh, pal.
It was really difficult and we really wanted to get into it.
So, okay, for anyone who wants to open their own jar lids and is struggling, you just need a rubber band. You get the rubber band, you put it around the lid of the jar because it's really grippy and it will give you enough grip that you will get your jar lid open. It's never failed me.
Or if your sword hand is full of sword, smash it open.
My jam tastes extra crispy today. Do I want this? I kind of want that. I think it's clever, but no lie, I can open my own jars, so it wouldn't work. Sorry.
I do also just have to quickly point out the, again, common stereotype of, oh, when a woman's mad, she'll give you the silent treatment, which, you know, I've met enough men that are also terrible at communication. And also, I'm pretty sure I hear a lot of cis heteronormative culture like complaining that women talk too much, and this seems to go in the face of that.
Also, I will say, if she stops talking to you, that's quite possibly a sign that she's giving up. And you might want to do something about that. Tighten the jar lids a little.
Next on the agenda. Oh, look at this. It's the old people's social media, Facebook.
Too true.
IFL Science has posted an article discussing how long sex should last, according to a study. And obviously there's a bunch of reactions, comments, and shares, but what we're focusing on here is a lovely little comment from somebody going, a 2-minute intercourse is more than enough for the husband to inseminate his wife. More than that is vice, perversion, and socialism. Blessings.
They've convinced me. Give me that vice, perversion, and socialism any day. That's what I'm here for.
Where do you start to unpack that, Alaska?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Even if you felt very strongly for yourself, you wanted to only keep it to marriage and that made it more special for you, fine. But it should be something that you enjoy with your partner, right? I mean, that's, if you're not enjoying it, is it really consensual? This gives me weird vibes.
Clearly, what this helps show is that this person has not had a wide enough understanding of sex and what humans do in terms of, you know, sexual gratification, sexual intercourse, sexual activities. And I think that kind of stems from a very limited education and exposure to what other people might enjoy. And they've just taken a very strict and narrow view of, right, this is the one thing I've been told is acceptable, and this is what I'll run with, which is a shame.
I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of worried about them. Like, I'm slightly concerned that they are not getting enjoyment from this and that they're not checking in with their partner, that they're also okay and getting enjoyment from this. 2 minutes is not a lot of time for even communication about what's happening. Are you okay, hun?
All I can think in my head is like, 2 minutes? That's like not even enough for proper foreplay to get anything prepared. What the fuck? And if you keep going any longer than that, do you know what happens?
Eternal damnation.
There's so much you could do in 2 minutes, but not that. Not that.
My next one is actually an advert in a shop window of two people kissing. But it's the weirdest, most awkward kiss I've ever seen. Their faces are smooshed together, like almost as if someone's forcing them. I don't understand what's happening here. And the text above says, straight people saying, I don't want to see your homosexual lifestyle thrown in my face. And then also straight people. And then we see the most awkward kiss ever. In your face, on the high street, gigantic picture in a shop window.
I'm having several emotions to just seeing these people kiss. My first one is like, God, does everyone look that ugly when they kiss? That can't be right.
If that's not sexual content in front of children, I don't know what is.
You know what? The queers should just take over the world, and maybe we should ban straight people from like making out, because whatever they're doing is just wrong looking.
It's only a kiss, but it feels so graphic because the picture's so weird.
I mean, he's gripping her by the back of the head, they're like tonguing in there.
And yet we get told that it's non-straight people who are flaunting it and how it's terrible for the children. This is just the same. Actually, it's not just, this is worse.
Jim down the street complaining I'm wearing a little Progress Pride flag on my outfit. Or fucking Martha down the fucking street complaining that I'm holding hands with another man. But then I have to watch this every fucking day. No, not the same.
How is this okay, but holding the hand of someone of the same gender as you is not?
I can't believe it was used as part of a program for promoting whatever.
I feel bad for the models. Like they shouldn't have had to be subjected to this picture being taken.
Some paychecks are just not worth it, folks. This time, we have a lovely bit of text. Women never grow out of their terrible twos. Just 5'3" toddlers running around, terrorizing men forever. Because once again, we're going to equate women with children.
Toxic masculinity is a weird thing. And obviously there are plenty of men who aren't toxic, which is wonderful. But there's definitely some who are. And the complaints they have are very contradictory. So on the one hand, they're complaining about women terrorizing them forever and how awful it is to get married to them because it's a trap. But it seems to be the same section of society who's complaining about the fact that women don't want to get married anymore and men are like stuck single forever because women have decided they're not good enough.
It's almost like we're watching this certain part of society driving down the road, but they can't decide what lane they want to be in when they're making a comment. I can't fathom what the cognitive dissonance going on is.
I think for some reason there's a small section of society who are men who are holding on to really traditional conservative values and don't seem to see other people as of equal value and don't realize that they need to up their game essentially and be equal partners and listen to their other half, care for them, have an equal relationship where you both get involved in the household chores and an emotional labor in the relationship.
Yeah, it really is a strange, odd, losing battle to pick.
I don't know why they're so stuck in that mindset because I don't think it does them any good either. There's then pressure on them to be the main breadwinner when you don't have to do that. You could be an equal partner and you do some of the home stuff, you earn some of the money, and your other half does the same.
Also, taking up a few extra responsibilities, that's not going to harm anyone. It's not going to damage your masculinity or anything like that if that's what you're worried about.
It's a nice thing. You'd like it. Try it.
I mean, I think the thing that people forget is just because it's tradition doesn't mean it was fucking good for anyone.
Agreed. For our final meme of the day, we have a picture. Actually, it's two pictures. So one of the pictures is of the back of a shirt. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but the back of shirts often has this really weird little loop, like right under the collar. And it's one of those things where you're like, what is that for? Then the next picture shows us what it's for, allegedly. Because the next picture shows a woman with her fingers hooked through the loop, frog marching her presumed husband or boyfriend off because assuming he's done something naughty. And someone has tweeted these pictures and said, as it should be.
I mean, I don't wear shirts that often because, God, I hate them. But you know what? If that's a practical use for it.
So I think the pictures on their own they're funny. Like, I get it. It's a good joke. I like it. It's clearly a joke. What concerns me is that someone tweeted the pictures and very seriously said, as it should be. What did he just say about treating your partner as an equal and not as a child?
At least we're comparing the men to children this time, so it's a bit of a different flavour.
It's a breath of fresh air, is it?
Look, I've got to take them where I can find them, Alaska. Also really weird to see how much engagement this one got.
35.8 thousand retweets.
As it should be. Is it as it should be? I don't think it should be as it should be.
It's a funny joke. If I saw this in real life, I would have secondhand embarrassment.
I think I'd agree. As a meme, I can kind of see the funny side to it, and like, yeah, it's not. I'd hope it's not true, and I'd hope, yeah, never to actually witness it happening.
I am left wondering what that little loop is for, though.
Well, I mean, it's as it should be. It's a hoot for when people are misbehaving. Oh, I figured out what it's for, though. Frequently, Ivy League college students, but also professional workers, could hang their shirt up in the locker room without it getting wrinkled.
Can you do the same with the loop on the inside of the collar, though?
It's how you capture the nonces. If they're wearing a fancy shirt, you grab them by it and pull them away from everyone.
Now, that sounds like a practical application.
Won't be having any of that today. You're coming with me.
This has been a very weird trek through the internet today.
After reading all that, do we think that heteronormative culture is awkward as fuck? Yeah. Based on this, it really is.
Yeah, it can be. I am pleased to say that I think this is the minority, that there are plenty of lovely, good, wholesome relationships. But there's definitely a small segment of the society where, yeah, awkward AF. We're basically just out here promoting healthy relationships for all.
Please take this with a pinch of salt, a very healthy pinch of salt, because, you know, memes are based on comedy that will appeal to the masses, so it does require broad strokes of generalization.
Anyway, I think that's enough awkwardness for one episode. So next episode, we're going to change it up and do something that's far more joyful.
So next time, because the brilliant musical Sister Act is going to be coming to an area near us, we decided it would be very appropriate for us to tell you 10 things you never knew about Sister Act, because after all, we're also nuns, so we can talk about nun stuff.
Clearly bringing our expertise to this. Oh, I do love Sister Act.
Such a good film.
I think that might be enough for one episode.
So, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all the socials in the links below.
And I think we can safely say that we've done the thing.
We have awkwardly done the thing. We've done the thing.
Done the thing. Done the thing. We've done the thing. Done the thing.